Okay, so here we have another composite shape in which we need to find the total area of it. And looking at this particular composite shape, we can see it's got rectangular features. It can make a rectangle at about here, down if we extended this line down, and another rectangle here if we extended this line down, so this little rectangle here. So in order to solve these problems about the composite areas, we need to be really good at looking at finding those little areas. So I'm going to draw in, if I can, as straight as possible, a line that extends this area and a line here that extends that area. And I'll use some colour so you can see those different areas that I've got. So I've got one rectangle here. And you can see that this rectangle has a length of 9 millimeters and a width of 12 millimeters. So I can use those measurements to find the area of this shape. And then I've got another little rectangle here, and it's got some measurements. It's got a length of 3 millimeters here and a width, which we need to look at these two measurements and add them together. So the width of this shape is going to be 6 millimeters because that's the height, as you can see there, of that rectangle. And then lastly, I've got this third area here. That's just a little square. Now I need to be careful and see which measurement belongs to which section. If this length is 15 millimeters, then I need to know that this little length here and this little length there and this bigger length will also add to 15 millimeters squared, because I'm assuming that it's a proper rectangle, and in each of these corners there are right angles. So I'm making that assumption that there are right angles, so no, it's going to extend here as well. So we need to know that this 3 millimeters here is associated to this line here. It's very tricky to go, oh, maybe it's this line here that's 3 millimeters. But there's a way we can look at this line here and work out the length of that line by going, well, this whole length here is 15 millimeters. This little length is 3 millimeters, and this little length is 9 millimeters. 9 and 3 is 12. The difference between 12 and 15 is 3. So this little line here must be the 3 millimeters. So I need to use that information when I'm finding my areas. And that, in a sense, that might be the trickiest part of these questions, is just finding where those areas are. And once you do find them, draw them in and know how many areas you're looking for. So we have shape 1. It doesn't matter which order you do them in, really. Shape 2. And we have a third shape, shape 3. Okay, so we need to do our working for each of these shapes. We need to indicate which shape and communicate which shape we're finding first. It's really important we show our communication first, boys, so that we communicate mathematically, because that's very important. So we need to indicate we're finding the area of shape 1 first. Now we know area of shape 1 is the rectangle, so we need to use our rectangle rule and say the area of a rectangle is our length times our width. And then we use that information. Our length is 9 millimeters. If I press too hard, that little box comes up. 9 millimeters multiplied by 12 millimeters. And we know 9 12s are 108. And we need to write that in our right unit, so it's 108 millimeters squared, and that's the area of that shape 1. I've indicated it, I've shown my working, I've got my rule, my number sentence, and my answer. And if I do need to do any working, I can do it in some other space up here or down there. As long as I've got this information clearly shown, then I will get, I'll have my good communication there. Okay, so now I need to find my area of, I'll just go area shape 2. Okay, so this is my green area now, my area of shape 2. And I need to, obviously that's a rectangle as well, so I need to use my rectangle rule. Area of a rectangle is length times width. And my length of this shape is 3 millimeters. And my width of this shape is the 3 millimeters here and the 3 millimeters there, so it's 6 millimeters. Now I need to be able to see that it's not 3 millimeters, it's that whole width, it's 6, it's those two together. So it's 3 millimeters times 6 millimeters. And 3 sixes are 18, so that area is 18 millimeters squared. Now my third shape, so I'm indicating now I'm going to find my area of shape 3. And that's this little shape here, and it's a little bit of a square. Now we talked about this length here, knowing that it is 3 millimeters. We've done a check, we've known this is 15 millimeters. We know that 3 and 9 is 12, and the difference between 12 and 15 is 3 millimeters. So this length here must be 3 millimeters. So we need to remember that. So we write our rule in, area of, is a rectangle even though it's a square. We use the same rule at this stage, length times width. And we can see the length here is 3 millimeters times the width here, which is 3 millimeters. And 3 threes are 9, so it's 9 millimeters squared. So now I have indicated and communicated very clearly each of those 3 areas and what they equal. I've got my rules, I've got my number sentences and my answers. So my final step is to show and calculate the total area. I'm going to write what I'm going to do is area of shape 1 plus the area of shape 2 plus the area of shape 3. So I'm talking about, I'm communicating what I'm actually doing, and this is excellent communication. And if you, for an excellent communication result when you get through senior and middle school, having this communication is going to help you. So it's good to start early with that. Okay, so we're going to add these areas together. I've got the area of shape 1, which is 108 millimeters squared. Now I'm adding that to the area of shape 2, which is 18 millimeters squared. And I'm adding that to the area of shape 3, which is 9 millimeters squared. And if I need to, I can do some working over here, which is somewhere on my page. 108 plus 18 plus 9. And if I add these together, oops, I've added them wrong. So 8 and 8 is 16, and 9 is 25, and 2 and 1 is 3, and 1 there is 4. So my answer here will be 135 millimeters squared. And that will be my answer, and I can leave that like that. I've communicated this is my total area here. I've communicated which areas I'm adding, I've indicated what numbers they are, and I've got my final answer here. And that's it.